My name is Saad Manzoul.
And I'm Travis Howard.
Welcome to Reading Room Talk Live from Howard University. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Excuse me, is this the reading room?
Yes, I'm Dr. Saad Manzoul.
I'm Dr. Travis Howard.
Welcome to the Reading Room. I'll just tell you guys a little bit about myself, and Travis tell you a little bit about himself too, and we'll kind of basically open it up to any questions or any other things you guys want to talk about. So my name is Saad Manzoul. I went to The Ohio State University, and then I was at George Washington for radiology residency, and then after that I went to UCLA for an MSK fellowship, and I worked in Dallas, Texas for a little bit, and then ended up back here in D.C. with this guy right here.
There you go.
Yes.
So, were you done?
Yeah. Go ahead. It's all you.
So, Travis Howard here. I started out at The Ohio State University, and I did engineering, worked for a little bit, and then I went back to medical school. And I did my residency at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and then my fellowship at MGH in interventional radiology. So this is my first job out of training, and
Yes.
I'm here. Happy to be here.
We're here. Yes. Thank you so much for letting us coerce you guys to make us come over here, because we really wanted to come to Howard. I feel like, neither of us went to Howard, but
No.
like any other African American institution, we feel like we're part of Howard because the first black doctors came from here, and we feel like they kind of paved the way for all of us. Like back in the day when we weren't able to go to school anywhere else, they were able to give us an opportunity so other people can actually see doctors actually working. So even though we did not go to Howard, we feel like we are part of Howard. So we really, really appreciate you guys letting us come here and letting us talk to you guys about, our experiences and answer any questions that you guys may have. And special shout out to Marcus for putting this together, and Katie and Kathleen for organizing this today. We really, really appreciate it. I know we were kind of going back and forth about whether we wanted to come or not, but in the end, I think we really, really just wanted to be here with you guys. So that was the most important thing for us. And also just to see the campus. I mean, I know when you're in school, you kind of take it for granted, but you guys are on a legendary place, with a lot of, very, very important people walk through these halls, and a lot of very important people and trailblazers came through these hallways that you guys are in now. So we just wanted to come and show our support and appreciation for everything you guys are doing.
Absolutely. Very happy to be here. And first and foremost, we want to be a help to you guys as much as we can be. And just put a face to the journey, and again, I'm very happy to be here. This the historical significance of this place it feels good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it does. It just I think for us who did not necessarily go to HBCUs, it's just important for us to be able to come, and we really appreciate you guys allowing us to be here today. And the whole podcast that we're trying to put together basically is just trying to help people that are on the journey, who are trying to decide what to do and how to make it. And there's going to be bumps on the road, and there's going to be things that could potentially break you. But I think just sharing these stories and putting them on wax and being able to share these later on with people is really important, because me and Travis talk about all the mentors that we had on the way.
Yeah.
And we try to always tell people about the mentors we had, but it would always be nice if we could have heard those mentors speaking. So we just want to get this all on wax for everyone, and hopefully, it'll help you make a decision or not make a decision, or just be entertained. Hopefully, so that's the number one thing. So the podcast should be live next week, and we're excited.
We'll keep it going.
Yes,
Yeah.
We'll keep it going, and we want you guys to be on it as well. So if you guys ever want to get at us, we're going to be on IG at Reading Room Talk. You can always send us an email at readingroomtalk@gmail.com, and on Twitter as well, at Reading Room Talk. So with that being said, we can get started now.
Awesome.
So Does anyone have any questions? We'll talk to our live audience first. Any particular questions? Any concerns? Any stories you guys want to share?
Can you tell us why you chose radiology and at what point in your career or training you decided that you wanted to be a radiologist?
Yeah, great. I can start.
Yeah.
So the question was why you chose radiology, and at what point did you realize it was, what you wanted to do? So for me, I had exposure to radiology early in our curriculum at the University of Cincinnati, and I was just taken aback by the intelligence, the way that the radiologist dictated a report and looked at these images, these shades of gray and black, and just actually provided a blueprint for the next step in patient care. To me, I thought that was so important. I thought that was everything. So that's what really initially drew me in. People would talk about the dark room and how can you sit in a dark room all day. I never really even saw a dark room. I was just captivated by the images in front of me and the pathology that I would see, and then the interest of the attendings that they had and what they were doing. We're talking about, in your academic setting, there's people huddled around these monitors and they want to know what's going on, why is the temp up, or why is this patient in pain, or and you're able to answer that question when no one else can. And to me, I thought that was amazing. So that was how I got initially interested into it. It came out of nowhere because I started med school like a lot of people in IR. They wanted to be surgeons. That's really maybe all they knew about before they applied. But once I saw that and experienced that, I got hooked. They hooked me. So,
yeah, that's it. I feel the same way. I mean, I think we talked about this on an episode before. I wanted to be a surgeon, and I was really interested in being a surgeon, and was gung-ho about it. And honestly, I just wasn't built for surgery. Just was not built for it. That's the honest truth. It was the hours were long. I think being in the OR just wasn't as interesting to me too. And then, a lot of complications. And, to me, I like radiology because you get in and you're looking at a thing and you're solving a problem and you're moving on to your next problem. And then you're kind of helping other people, meet, first of all, you meet a lot of people too. So you kind of have to know everything. You'll be in a reading room, and then a neurosurgeon will come in and ask you about an MRI of a brain, and then the next minute a vascular surgeon will come in and ask you about ultrasound, and then then orthopedic surgeon will come and ask you about an MRI. So you do have to know a lot. That's why the residency is so long. I mean, you really do have to know a lot because people are coming to you and asking you questions, and it's super interesting, obviously. And the technology is amazing, and even I've only been radiologist for less than 10 years, but just seeing the way images have already changed, how the quality is improved, the speed is improved, all that is super, super interesting. And my wife is also a primary care doctor, so it's cool to see how everything kind of correlates. When we say something, what it kind of determines what the next step is for a member's or patient's management. So I think from that standpoint, it is really nice. You may not get the hugs that other people get, from your patients, but that's okay.
Just do IR, man.
Exactly.
That's what you should.
I should have. Yeah. That's back into the surgery world.
Yeah,
and,
a little bit.
Yeah, told you I'm not built for that. Not built for it.
Yeah.
Both of you guys did fellowship, right?
Yes.
How did you guys choose? How did you guys choose that specific area?
Oh, you got it.
So, interventional radiology for me, I saw an angiogram and I saw a physician treat a patient in a way that no one else could. I saw a minimally invasive way of treating people, and I thought that was the future. I could get my clinical fix, I could get my diagnostic fix, I could get all of it with IR. I was a little afraid of the lifestyle. No, real talk. I thought, man, I don't want to be up in the middle of the night embolizing bleeds. But at some point, I looked around at every other discipline of radiology, or subspecialty, I should say, and I thought that was where I belong. And I'm very happy I made that decision. So, I think when you're trying to make a choice, you want this perfect fit. You want everything to like line up and your lifestyle, and you got to take a plunge at some point and maybe realize that there's give and take in all of it. So that's how I chose IR, patient care oncology, interventional oncology. Man, it's just so gratifying. So I love what I do. But
yeah, and you're in there with your hands, you're doing things, you're seeing patients, you're in clinic, like you're like have you an active role in like what patients are going through, which is super important. As far as me, I chose MSK because I'm a black man and I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon originally, just like all the other black guys. And then in the end, I was kind of like, I should probably choose something that I can actually survive. And, like I just remember like on my ortho rotation, like kind of looking at the MRIs with the orthopedic surgeons and, they never actually, ask a radiologist what they think.
Oh, no, can't do that.
But for me, that was good. I was like, if you guys aren't going to ask me, I can just say what I want, right? But I mean, I think the other thing was the personalities in MSK were like really to my liking. People who are like into sports, people who like, they like mechanism of injury. They're interested in looking at small ligaments and labral tears and correlating that with like what a patient was experiencing. And then for my fellowship, I ended up at UCLA, and UCLA is a big orthopedic oncology center. And when I was interested in ortho, I was also interested in ortho-onc. So it was nice to be at a place where like, we had like a pretty big orthopedic oncology service. We had like a weekly, basically like grand rounds basically, where we like went through like 25, 30 like, crazy patients and their tumors and just kind of learning about that. And then even in my fellowship, did a lot of procedures, a lot of bone biopsies, we did ablations, we did everything in the fellowship. So it was really nice. It was really hands-on, and it was quick, like you read MSKMR, it's like, 4 or 5 sequences, you're out. So for me, it was impatient. That was good.
Instant gratification.
Exactly.
On to the next.
Exactly. And then the other thing is, again, the ortho people, they don't necessarily ask you like, what's going on here? So it's like, I can just say what I want.
Oh, man.
Yes. Any other questions? Well, we'll tell you a little bit more about our process of applying, I guess. So like when I was in, basically when I went to Case for med school, and then when I was there, like the process for us, I applied to like a bunch of programs at the time. I think I applied to like, I think it was like 60 programs, something crazy. Like, because you're trying to get a spot, you're trying to get an interview. And we've talked about this in previous episodes, sometimes like, if you don't have like the highest grades, but your personality is good, what'll happen is, you might not get as many interviews as other people, but hopefully like the interviews you get, you're able to crush those interviews and you're able to get in there and like kind of show your personality and, be able to communicate and, basically not be a weirdo. I think, like when you guys apply to med school, like, you'd be sitting in a room with other candidates, you're like, oh, these guys are out of their minds. So, you do want to like basically you just want to not fail. You just want to be normal. Like the more normal you can be, the more that people can feel like they can sit in a dark room with you for like hours. It's kind of weird to say, but that's really what it is. Like you want to have a personality that's like amenable to like, being able to talk and being able to communicate and being able to like kind of jump from subject to subject and also not get, flustered because, you'll be in the reading room and you'll be reading a CT scan and then someone will come interrupt you, and then the next thing is you'll get a telephone call for a protocol, and then the next thing is, you got to go out and do a procedure. So it's, you got to be, malleable basically in order to like, and be able to like focus quickly, like.
How you handle stress is very important.
Very important, yeah, because like I'm pretty sure there's not a radiologist who reads more than one scan at a time.
No, can't do that.
You'll be on call and like the ER will be calling you or like outpatient center will be calling you, asking for readings, and you'll be like, I can only read one at a time.
That's it.
And you have to focus on the one that you're on. And I really feel like radiology is very much like being an athlete because, if you see like LeBron go miss a dunk, it's going to be on TV forever. And the same thing in radiology. You know, you miss a tumor, you miss like a nodule, you miss an aneurysm.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
there.
It's bad.
You know, it'll be there, and you have to be okay with like missing. You kind of have like you definitely have to have like a growth mentality when it comes to these things. You know, like your misses are going to come back to you. They're going to come and be like, yeah, you missed this, and being able to recognize that like people miss, and you just got to learn from it, and
That's right.
you got to like change your search pattern sometimes. You got to focus on things that you're not focused on. So all these things are like super important for being a radiologist, and I think being able to show those characteristics like when you're in your interview is super important as well.
And I think that you bring up some great points, because when you're on the interview trail, those are the questions you're going to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you deal with failure? How do you deal with a miss? Or how do you bounce back when you've had some sort of hardship? And in clinical medicine, if you're able to learn and the patient doesn't suffer, man, that's a win.
That's a super win.
That's a win, because you're going to learn and you're never going to do that again, more than likely. And the patient didn't suffer. So it's hard to look at it that way.
Yeah.
In all actuality, when you're in residency and they tell you, oh, your miss rate is this, or you finish the night, your overnight call, you're already tired, and you're thinking, what? And then you're checking your email the next day. What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? And then like you look the next day, and maybe you didn't miss anything, and it's a good feeling.
Or it might be a couple days.
Yeah,
maybe a week.
But if you miss something, I could say, I remember getting so upset about a small sliver of a pneumothorax that I might have missed.
Yeah.
It's not even real. In my head, I'm like, this attending, what is he smoking? Like, that's not. But no,
that's true.
But it meant nothing. Clinically, it meant nothing. It's just like, do they want to nick me apart? Oh, there's a nodule in the right lower lobe that you didn't see on call at 4 a.m. Exactly. Get out of here. Why would I be so upset about that?
Exactly.
But I was.
Yeah, and you should.
And so,
and that's part of the growth mentality.
That's right. It makes you better. So your search pattern, you're not going to miss the lingual. You're gonna do what you gotta do.
Exactly. I remember always I always miss like adrenal stuff.
Oh man.
So
you
then
have
I had to change.
spots.
Yeah, exactly. So I changed my search pattern. So that's like the first thing I look at now. Yeah. So it's just learning about like, these are things I'm looking for. Like, and I think also like when you guys end up going into radiology, it's very important to be, on routine. Like when you open up a study, like you should have your search pattern already set. Because like everyone knows the janitor sign, right? Where like a janitor can walk in and be like, oh, cancer, from like 30 feet away, but. You have to be able to like locate everything else.
Yeah.
And because you're responsible for everything on the screen. So and you're also responsible for the proper management. And I think that's one thing I learned during my residency was that like, you can call something, but you better make sure that the people know what you're saying and how important it is.
That's right. Be clear. I mean, that's like next to godliness. Clarity and brevity is next to godliness, and being able to organize your thoughts and present it that's an art in itself, I feel.
It really is.
When you really want to have sound reports and be helpful.
Yes.
And, that's something you work on. So, I mean, we're getting caught up in the nuances of radiology, and I could talk at length about it. But
it's important. It's super important.
I want to know from you all, like, there's a lot of talk about AI, and there's a lot of talk about AI and how it's going to affect future jobs in radiology.
Yes.
I want to hear from you all. What are you hearing, and do you have any fear? Is that changed the applicant pool in your opinion, or anything along those lines?
So what I've heard, I don't know if they can hear me, but what I've heard is it's only going to help us.
Okay.
It's only going to help us do our jobs more efficiently and more accurately, but it's not going to replace us. And as long as we continue to bring value, find ways for us to bring value as people, I think that our jobs should be secure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to have that, right? I can't tell you how many times a clinician will call me and they want to talk to someone, right? They want to know, like, what do you think about this, and what's the next step? I think I don't know that AI will be able to do that. Definitely won't be able to be there in the hospital and talking to the clinician and have that exchange. But I agree. I really think it's just going to help with like computer assisted detection and mammography. Like it'll helpfully just be a tool to help that 4 a.m. missed nodule. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, first of all, shout out to Kathleen for saying us, because you feel like you're going to be a radiologist, which is excellent. You got to have that confidence. So.
I feel like I've chosen the best job.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Oh, excellent.
That's
Excellent. And I think, like the volumes aren't going down in radiology.
No.
The volumes are not going down. Like, people are getting more scans, getting scanned faster, and the scans are coming quicker. And if anything, I think AI is going to help us get through scans more. You know?
I like that.
And it'll just help us be more efficient. And like you said, not miss the 4 a.m. 4 millimeter nodule. Yeah. Very important. Sometimes not really.
Not really.
But these things are really important. And with any field, I think I remember when I was at GW and they got the Da Vinci robot to do surgeries, and then people are like, "Oh, surgeons are done." Like, no, they're not done.
Yeah.
No.
This surgeon operated in Europe from this office.
They're not doing that. That's not happening. That rate of change is too fast. And it's still medicine. It's still a specialty that relies on talking to people, having rapport. And if anything, it'll give us more of opportunity to talk to patients and kind of give us more of opportunity to discuss management. And at our practice now, when we read a report, it gets released to the patient's email right then when we sign it. And they're able to actually send reports send questions directly to us. And as volumes increase and our efficiency has to increase, it's going to give us more time to communicate with physicians directly and communicate with patients directly. And I think another part of kind of doing this podcast also let people know that radiologists are doctors too. We're not the ones taking the X-rays. Yeah. But they're all very, very important.
Yeah. Let me tell you, when you go into a tumor board meeting,
yes,
and there are two people in that meeting that everyone is listening to, and that is the radiologist and the pathologist.
That's right.
And you want to know the power of radiologists, I think you just go to a tumor board meeting, you'll see. We make a big difference in patient outcomes, and you guys already get that. But I just get excited when I think about how fortunate I am that I chose this field and that I get to do it, and it pays well.
Yeah.
I get to get home to my family most nights intact.
Yeah, very important. And that helps you become a better doctor too,
Right.
when you have that time to kind of unwind and you have the time to kind of do your other activities outside of medicine. That is only going to make you a better doctor. So anytime, I feel like sometimes the culture of medicine is you can't talk about a lifestyle specialty, but if you feel like you need that away time to be a better ophthalmologist or radiologist, or what's the road? Radiology, ophthalmology, anesthesiology, and dermatology.
Yeah.
Maybe a little E for ER, maybe. So, those special. It's important. You have to know yourself before you're choosing a field, and you have to know the personalities, and you have to know that, like you said, it's very important. You can say something, and literally people will just come to the reading room and start yelling at you because that's how important you are. So it's absolutely true. So.
And I wanted to see as much pathology as I could, because I felt like that would make me a better radiologist. That said, I think the most important thing you can do is go where you feel the people will support you, where you get a good vibe from the attendings. Trust your gut, and if you feel like the personalities mesh well, go with that, because most pathology you can look up in a book. Most pathology you can look on StatDX. I think it's invaluable to have that support so you can get through those 4 years and, maintain your identity, maintain your, self-esteem, and feel good about what you chose. I think that, and maybe you're not as susceptible as I might have been, but if you go somewhere that you don't like the people and you don't like the department, you'll second guess everything.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I think that's most important. And then if you can get your pathology fixed, and if you can then maybe be close to family, some where you have some support, I would rank those as the top 3 things that I would make on my list.
Yeah,
for matching someone.
And I agree with that. I mean, I think I have a news flash for everyone. If you haven't heard, all hospitals have pathology. It's unbelievable. You won't believe it. But You'll see appendicitis at Brigham. You will see appendicitis at UT Southwestern. You will see appendicitis at Mumbai State. You know, like you will see it everywhere. So like I think the personality thing is very, very important. You do want to be in a comfortable environment. You do want to be in a place where like you feel like you'll get supported. You know, you feel like you won't get berated for making mistakes. You want to be in a place where you just feel comfortable, because you know, like you have to be in a comfortable place mentally and emotionally and physically in order to learn. Because if you're like always on edge and always like, you know, trying not to miss, it's like, again, it's like being an athlete. If you're out there like thinking too much, like it's going to be really, really tough for you. So I think definitely, you know, choosing a program that, you know, kind of supports you, because they're going to see the pathology, and you're not the first resident at that program. Like they've graduated people from that residency. They've gone on to become really well-trained, you know, radiologists. So, you know, at GW, you know, one thing I liked about GW at least was, I didn't even know this when I got there until I got there, but it was basically after second year, you were on call in the hospital by yourself at night. And that was kind of a big deal for like a lot of people. And a lot of people chose not to go there because they were like, oh, I don't want to be a second year, like having to learn. But, you know, like you're going to get thrown in the fire at some point, you know, like you really are. I mean, there's programs where like you have like you have someone reading over you at night, like all the time. So like the first time you actually put down your own reads is like when you go to fellowship or like when you go to work, which is like crazy to me. Like, you know, like you don't want to be the first time putting in final reports that like sit for days when it's like, you know, after you graduated, you know, like you want to have that pressure. You do want to feel like, you know, you're actually affecting patient outcomes and like what you say matters. And that's all super, super important. But I think the pathology thing is kind of overrated to me.
I mean, now today when you can pull up an image of just about anything, I mean, it helps to be able to sort through it and exclude some things. But I'll tell you, some of those rare zebras that I would see during residency at Mayo, I don't see them.
I mean, they come to Mayo.
Yeah, right.
They come to Mayo for them, you know. But like a place like, even, you know, like regardless of what they say about wherever institution you're at, like you will see the pathology that you need in order to become a great doctor. Like that's not necessarily like a radiology thing. That's like any hospital that's been around. Like you're gonna see the pathology. You're gonna have to learn to treat it, and just being in a comfortable environment, like you said. I mean, if you can get that mix of like, you know, the pathology that you're looking for, but also pathology is, you know, it just shows up. It really does. It just shows up. You know, we're at a practice that's like not like academic institution, but we see a lot of you know, crazy stuff. You know, so like it's I don't think that necessarily is as important as, you know, just being in a positive environment.
I agree.
That's gonna like help you learn and help you, you know, just become a better radiologist. Because that's the whole point, is to become a radiologist.
And I think it's important too, like to point out. I know it's probably difficult in the COVID environment to like really get acquainted with the program. And I don't know if that's lightened up or some restrictions have lightened up. Maybe more people are more comfortable now that we have our vaccines and boosters. But don't be afraid to do a second visit. Don't be afraid to do a second look, a third look, however many looks you need, if that's possible. You know, just so you can feel good about your decision. I don't think any programs would, you know, push you away if you wanted to do a second look.
No. I think like the whole thing right now with the virtual interviews is easier for a lot of programs to do the virtual interviews right now. But you know, if you feel like you want to go and actually, you know, set foot in a place before you're there for 4 years, that's okay. You know, you should be able to call them and be like, hey, I just want to come and take a look or talk to someone in person there, even if it's just the program coordinator, or just like look at the reading room, just see what the vibe is like.
Other fellows
or
other residents.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. And I was going to say, I feel like, you know, when we're applying, you know, people would cancel interviews because they didn't want to fly to certain places. I wonder how it's going to be for you guys, where like people might not be canceling their interviews because it's just a Zoom call. So
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, so like I think definitely try to follow up with people if you feel like you're interested in a program that you haven't heard back from. You know, definitely like call, email them. If you have like something new on your resume that you want to throw on there, just give them like a resume update. That's all super important. So
a lot of times it boils down to your initiative.
Yeah.
And how excited you are about that place, about that opportunity. because they want to know that you want to be there, and they want to know if they rank you that it's going to link up.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, they don't want to go low on their like ranking list either. Just the same way you don't want to go low on your rankings list. So, like if you can talk to them and kind of get an idea, because even if you did interview live, like some people still come back for second looks and third looks and stuff.
Absolutely.
So, and also talking to the residents who, I think for me, like one important thing was trying to talk to the residents who are like not part of the interview process, trying to like just stop one and just ask them real quick, like, hey, what's going on here? How do you like it?
You get
like,
a good feel for the place if you can catch a tired resident.
Exactly.
It might divulge a lot of information.
Exactly. Just kind of stop them in the hallway and
so tell me how you really feel.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, but that's all super important, and that translates. I mean, that's for like any type of job. I feel like like
absolutely.
this isn't like a residency thing. I think when you go off and start applying to like jobs afterwards, that's also super important too. Like you want to kind of get the perspective of people who are not interviewed or not part of the interview process in order to get more candid information about a certain program. But yeah, and like you'll learn how to do it. There's an art to it.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah. You'll have to. You can't just ask anybody. You'll figure out who to ask. And sometimes they'll be like waiting. They'll be on the side, just like, come talk to me.
Yeah.
So that's super important as well.
Yeah.
What else? Do you have any other particular questions at all?
Anything? No, we got a couple of people. Yeah,
Oh, you're back. Excellent. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, what are good interview questions?
I would want to know like how the time off you have for board prep. I think that was huge.
True.
Because you can get bogged down in the work, but if you need time to go over all the required sections of the board exam and knowing how to knowing that you have some time to prepare for that, I think is important. Also, knowing that you have some time in your fourth year to sort of create that mini fellowship, so that maybe you come out of training after fellowship with having a couple of subspecialties that you're very important, that you're very comfortable with. So
you'll be able to market that. Yeah. Like I think if you end up like, let's say you did like an MSK fellowship, but then you did a MAMO mini fellowship during your during your residency.
You can sell that.
Yeah, you can sell that when you go get a job. Yeah. Exactly. So that's super important. But can you explain a little bit about the board's process? Because I know it's different. You kind of went through different situations.
Yeah, I mean, so I remember having time to just buckle down and get through a lot of questions and all the subspecialties and trying to learn as much as I could, because you learn it. You may not revisit, say, mammography for another year, but you need to brush up on all of that.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to brush up on all that and you're on call and you have no time to do so, that can just add to your stress levels as you're trying to prepare for that test. So
very true.
The details of the test kind of a blur. I like to block it out. So,
but you took it during your was it during your third year?
Yep, third
year.
So
you take the first part during your third year.
First part in your board, board eligible.
Yeah.
And then you do your fellowship and you go back and for me, IR, I took a combination of the oral and written exam, and that was not long ago.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago. And
that's actually after you finished fellowship now.
Yes,
Yeah.
And you worked for a bit. So,
yeah.
The interview questions, I would ask, what do you do for board prep? Also, how do you support your residents who struggle?
Yeah.
How do you support your residents who have issues? And then
that's a great question.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, those are important questions.
And then time for mini fellowship, time for diving into your interests, your subspecialty.
Exactly.
How do you handle call? What sort of backup do you have when you're on call?
Mm-hmm.
I mean that can be very important.
Yes, that can make or break you. Yeah. So that's super important. I think also just general interview advice is just interviewing the interviewer You know, like people like to talk about themselves. So like the more you can just interview them and ask them like, you know, why do you like it here? What made you come here? And like, you know, do a little bit of research on the people you're interviewing with, you know, ask them questions about like any type of research that they've done, where they trained, you know, why they are at that particular institution, you know, and also like, you know, to be like a nice person, you always ask about people's families and, you know, life situations. I mean, that'll always help you stand out, you know, like whenever like you actually care about the person and, you know, kind of make a connection that way. That's also super important because, you know, they may be like attendings and program directors, but they're still humans.
Yeah.
You know, they still have lives and they still, you know, go through the same things that you go through as well. So like, don't, you know, try to turn down your intimidation factor and just try to be nice. Like a nice person, you know, just try to be a nice person.
I remember asking them, so I'm moving to Rochester, Minnesota. How are you going to support an African-American man, age whatever, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah,
but
21.
how are you going to support me, and how am I going to feel good in Rochester, Minnesota? And, you know, I squirmed in their chair a little bit. But, you know, they eventually gave me some answers that I felt like were sufficient enough.
Yeah.
Me and my wife went up there and we had a baby. It was a good experience. But those, some might call them bold questions, or maybe you know that the interviewer might be uncomfortable when you ask them those questions. But the on the other side of that is like, okay, this guy's serious.
Yes.
He wants to come.
Yes,
he's challenging me a little bit, but he really wants to be comfortable. So just being honest, that there's this whole concept of like radical candor that I think people really gravitate towards. If you can really just keep it a buck, just let them know this is me, this is what I want to do.
Exactly.
That helps out.
Exactly.
Helps you find the match.
Yeah, no, that's it. Because like if you guys can connect on something that's outside of medicine, that's going to help you, you know, help you feel comfortable, you know, there, like when you're actually, you know, talking to them. So and then
things that can make or break your application.
Exactly.
Letters of recommendation, I think, are key. You know, once you've gotten into radiology residency, you have found a way to get along with the people, because again, you know, same in radiology, but I feel like it's a little bit more so in IR, because the stress levels can be higher, and if the attendings feel comfortable with you and know that you can keep your cool, they don't mind being around you for those long cases and those long hours, and they can endorse your personality and send those letters out. The IR world is very small, and you know, for me, I think the biggest difference was just having a personality that people didn't mind being around, and being able to get those letters of recommendation that were supported. So that's key, I think, in IR. It's not a test score. You got to learn IR, right? On my board exam, that was my lowest score. It was IR, and that's what I went into. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to say, but, you know, it wasn't long before I was in fellowship, and I felt really strong and felt comfortable in IR. So I wouldn't say don't feel like you need to be a whiz kid when you go in. Matter of fact, if you're a whiz kid and you try and show it, that might be a turnoff. You might not have that letter of recommendation.
There's a lot of whiz kids.
So I would just be humble and try and get a good letter of recommendation. But trying sounds bad. I mean, it's just...
No, the letters are important, I think, for IR. IR is a smaller world. You know, the people, you know, the IR people know each other.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like DR. Like, the IR people actually do know each other. They go to conferences. They've probably written papers together. So, these letters are super important, because it's not really about what they say in the letter, because they're just going to call them and text them and be like, hey, is this guy good? And, you know, like, being able to get that type of, you know, feedback and that type of support, it is super important, I think. So, and I think specifically for IR, because, I mean, you know, DR is like another world, obviously. So, but IR people know each other, and you know, like that, and that's, again, that translates to life as well. You know, when you go get a job, it's going to be the same thing. So
it's true. So if you have an opportunity to match at a program, a fellowship where someone puts out a lot of papers, and you're able to get along well with them, and they can support you in your future endeavors, I mean, I guess what I described is like the dream for everyone, but really it's kind of like if you can be strategic in that way, I think it'll pay off. So go.
Yeah.
A smaller program where no one knows the attending that backs you is a little harder to make that next step.
Exactly. No, it is.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think also that, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's exactly right. Like you just, when you have a goal, like sometimes it's good to be like very specific about like what that goal is, like what it is you want to be. Like you talk to, people and they're like, I want to be just like, Barack Obama. That's very specific. So, but at least it kind of gives you like an actual goal to like, and then you can kind of march backwards from there. Like, what did he do at this step? What did he do at this step? So again, I think it comes back down to like mentoring as well.
Yeah.
Like just having good mentors and being able to like kind of see people who are like going through the process as well. If you're interested in, IR, the particular program, it's kind of like a newer residency track at this point, trying to contact someone who's in that program at that particular place and trying to get information from them.
Yeah.
Would also be really good too. So
how to be a good mentee.
Yes.
If you found a mentor, most people will say in academic medicine are happy to be a mentor.
Yeah.
How to be a good mentee, always stepping up when they ask you to do something, and I'm not talking about like, mundane things. I'm research.
Yeah.
Folks who put out papers, they want to know that you'll try.
Yes.
You might write a paper or write a couple pages and it may get ripped up, but I think the initiative, trying,
yes.
it means the world to the actual paper writer and the researcher.
Yeah.
And just being available and being helpful not only when you need something. It's just kind of basic ways of treating other people. Treating people how you want to be treated. They're humans, like you said.
Yeah.
And they want.
And they're under a lot of pressure too. They're under a lot of pressure too at these programs. Trying to like trying to do all the work that they need to do. Also try to push out the papers, and then also trying to like make sure that they're there for the residents. So like trying to think about their perspective as well, and trying to find little things where you can help them out. Like if they have a med student following them around, maybe you can be like, hey, med student can come follow me around for a little bit. And
they would love you for that.
Yeah, I mean those are little things that help you out right there, and it also helps you become a good mentor as well. So, oh yeah, we talked about this on a previous episode, but RSNA is basically the all-star weekend of radiology, and people lose their minds out there.
They sure do.
They really do. I mean, I went 2 years. I had like an abstract. I mean, it is nice to. It's the biggest medical conference, like I think in the world. I think, like a lot of vendors, a lot of people from everywhere. It's Chicago. It's like cold. It's in the middle of like this huge center, the convention center downtown.
Yep.
So you get to interact with a lot of people. You get to see a lot of people. You get to, feel like, you're there with like people who are like-minded, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And I think I had a good experience because, I went with like some of my co-residents, which was really nice, and we were able to kind of meet different people and even, talk to different programs and stuff when I was looking at fellowships. So that was a really nice experience for me.
Yeah, and it's really motivating to see all these brilliant minds, to see all this new technology, to see things that you would never even think of during training. People are doing them, man, and you just feel like you're a part of this, like this brainchild of medicine.
Yeah.
And for me, I remember being both overwhelmed but also very motivated. Like, I'm here. I belong. I felt like I had arrived in like the smartest discipline in medicine.
Absolutely.
Or specialty in medicine. If that said, if you want to see people, meet people, network, talk to people, if you can, choose one of those smaller conferences. Like,
that's actually good.
I remember going to Montreal to the SNIR neuroradiology conference in Montreal, probably 5 years ago or so. But it was that was a great experience, and you got to meet a lot of people and network and shake hands. And but RSNA is a bit overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming.
There's a lot going on. You feel like you're missing out the whole time.
Yeah, that's There's so much going on. You always feel like you're like not getting something. But I feel like Rankin Ray was really nice. I went to Rankin Ray a couple times. It's ARRS, I think, and that was a really nice conference. They actually sent us as like chief residents from our program, and it's a smaller conference. You get to meet more people. It's more academic. It's more like, I think it's more geared towards residents. So that was really nice. So, but RSNA has those pockets though. There are like resident specific
Yeah.
activities
Yeah.
that you can do there. So
Definitely worth the trip.
yeah, definitely
Definitely
worth
worth it to at least go once.
Yeah, you don't
For
want to be
sure.
like you didn't go. So definitely got to go. Definitely got to check it out. So, any other questions at all?
Or comments or anything. Feel free to contact us.
Yes.
You know, like I said in the beginning, this is all about being a help to anybody interested in radiology, putting a face to the journey,
Mhm.
and just trying to be as honest and upfront as I can. You know, Saad and I, on another episode, we talk about how I had no mentors that looked like me. I had no mentors that had my experience, my background,
Yeah,
and that was difficult.
that's true.
That was difficult on more than one occasion. And so, if I can lessen that for someone else,
Very
I
important.
would be happy about that. And if I can help someone succeed, obviously we like to help folks. So
Yeah,
I have a random question.
sure.
It is related to radiology, but I just want to know what you guys like to do for fun.
yeah,
We
yeah.
talked a lot about the interview process and the questions, and you guys, a lot of you guys are in your fourth years, you're interviewing, or even specifically what you did after your last interview and between your last interview and match day. Exciting at the same time, right?
Oh yeah.
Waiting games, what did you do to relax?
It was. It was.
What'd you do, Saad?
Well, thanks, babe, for the question. That's my wife. What did I do? Well, I like to play pickup basketball. So that's always something I like to do. Always, always, always. And what did I do during? I don't remember. I'll just say this. I feel like match day is for the students, and graduation is for the parents. It's for the family.
Yeah.
So like, don't take match day lightly. Like, it's a big deal that like, you know, you kind of went through this whole process and you like got to a place, and hopefully like on that Monday you guys get letters that say that, you know, you matched, and hopefully is it Wednesday or Thursday, I think, where you like, you know, you get to figure out exactly where you're going to be. I mean, it's really important to like savor those moments, like celebrate it, like understand that like, you know, that's a major accomplishment.
Absolutely.
You know, like don't let that like just pass by. And then, you know, get all your partying out there, because graduation's for the family. It's going to be you taking the family around and like showing them like the classrooms and stuff. So I think that's what I would say.
Yeah. Match day for me, I lost my mind afterwards. It was St. Patrick's Day.
Oh yeah, it's always
So-
like mid-March.
Oh my God, man, it was insane. It was prepared to be insane.
Yeah.
But I had a good time. A lot of loud music, a lot of drinks flowing, and to see your other classmates so happy and
Yeah.
so relieved. You
Yeah.
know, you have those classmates that are stressed to the hilt, and to see them like let loose and be so happy about their accomplishments. I remember being surprisingly more happy about that than
Yeah.
most other
Yeah,
things.
no, I agree.
And then my wife, when she matched, it was the same thing. Like, she matched, and all her classmates and people you care about. It's just a very happy, joyous time. You should do whatever the heck you want to do after that.
Because you deserve it.
Absolutely.
You absolutely deserve it.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think I have another funny story. So like I applied to a bunch of residency programs, but then I came to GW, and then I hit it off with some of the residents and the attending there, and you know, they don't really tell you that like you're like ranked to match, and ranked to match just basically means that like if the program has like 6 spots, that you're in like their top 6. That's what that means. And they didn't really say I was ranked to match, but I kind of felt like I was. So like I actually like was in Cleveland. I got like this like a Nationals hat. The Nationals had just come back to DC, and it said DC on it.
Nice.
And I bought the hat before match day. Very cocky, very cocky. And basically, I had I had one of like my friends basically like take a draft photo with me. Like when I got the letter, it was very nerve-wracking. I was more nervous about like having the wrong hat.
Oh yeah, right.
It's like-
what you look like.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that might not work out. But it worked out though. So you know, the things are part of believing. You know, believing that like you can do it. Believing that like, you know, when you have that feeling from a program. I had that feeling from GW when I interviewed there and met the people there, and you'll know. It's tough to like say, but like you'll know. You'll know where you're gonna end up. Like you'll have a good feeling, hopefully. And I will say this, you know, I had a buddy who like applied radiology, and like he didn't necessarily match the program he wanted. He kind of went pretty low on his rank scale, but and he wasn't too happy like on match day, you know, because he like kind of went, you know, low on the list, but you know, he put in his time where he had to put in his time for 4 years, ended up doing the fellowship he wanted to do. So like even in the case that you don't necessarily match into the program you might, you know, you thought you wanted to be at, like, you know, if you have faith, you'll kind of understand that, like, you know, there's a plan out there for you. You know, you feel like you might want to be at a place, but then that place didn't put you on there. Like, you know, it's their loss.
Yeah.
You know, it's their loss. You know, like you're gonna be a superstar wherever you go. So, and like you're gonna carry the squad wherever you go. So that's important to remember.
Put them on your back.
Exactly.
Let's go.
LeBron style. Exactly.
What do I like to do for fun too? You know, it's nice if you can go to a residency program or a fellowship program where you have your sports teams.
Mm-hmm.
You have an arena where, you know, you can go see a concert. You know, those sorts of things kind of help me get through.
Yeah.
Just, you know, normal stuff like that.
And if you're not in a place, you can travel.
Absolutely.
You know, so you get a little bit more flexible of a schedule, especially during the first year of radiology. I don't think you're doing a lot of calls, so like plan a lot of trips.
There you go.
And get away and come back, because that radiology is not going anywhere. It's going to be there.
Yeah.
But that's a great question. But I think we'll wrap it up here. We really appreciate you guys having us here, and thank you for letting us coerce you to make us come over here. We really wanted to come.
Yeah, we sure did. It's an honor.
Yes, and we'll come back anytime. Like in the case that people want to talk about anything else, medicine related, not medicine related, you know, we can always come back and talk to you guys. We're here, we're local, and we felt like it was important to come here because we are local. But you can definitely, again, podcast should be out soon. If it's not out already, it'll be just Reading Room Talk on IG and on Twitter and at Gmail.
Yeah.
So till next time, thank you guys very much. Stay low and keep firing.
Hit us on IG at Reading Room Talk and drop a line or voice note to readingroomtalk@gmail.com so we can discuss your case. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you get your pods, preferably in between cases.